Welcome to Modern Home Masterminds with beSpoke Brokers. I'm Shauna Glazier, designated broker and owner.
And I'm Brittany Williamson, associate broker. Shauna and I are beSpoke Real Estate, but we're also your guides to modern luxury across the entire state of Arizona.
Each week, we chat with masterminds shaping the modern spaces. Do you want to get a behind-the-scenes look at your design-build team's processes? Well, open communication and teamwork will lead you to a successful project.
From architects to builders, designers, and more, let's explore the art of modern living together.
Welcome back, listeners. What happens when a contractor is dedicated solely to luxury models? Well, today, Nick McCully joins us to explain why that singular focus leads to standout results.
That's right. Nick's the founder and president of McCully Construction. Growing up in a family rooted in construction, Nick launched the company in 2015 and has since positioned it as one of the Valley's premier custom remodel and tenant improvement firms, delivering ultra-luxury residential renovations and high-end commercial build-outs with meticulous attention to detail and white glove service.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. All right, well, let's start with your story and what sets you apart. Can you share with us how you got into construction business and why you choose to focus solely on remodels?
Sure. Construction kind of came naturally. My father, when we moved to Arizona in the early 90s, my father transitioned into construction. And then by the time I was old enough to intern on job sites, he was building custom homes up in North Scottsdale. And so he dragged me out to the job sites. I'd learn from him. And it started with a shovel and a broom, and then it would transition over time to work with his trades. And so I did that a lot through high school. And then post-high school, of which I barely made it through, I went right into full-time construction. And so I just kind of grew up doing that. I've always done it. And one thing has led to another. So I've literally been the guy digging holes. I've dug the ditches. I've done street construction. Really difficult back-breaking labor type of work, driven cranes, telecommunications, stacked cell phone towers, industrial pipe fitting, wastewater treatments. All of that has kind of led back into real estate, which came by way of I just got tired of being the guy in the hole, and I couldn't figure out how to get out of the hole. But I knew that the owners of the construction companies all had ice trucks, and they definitely weren't dirty when they came to job sites, and I was always dirty. So I ended up getting out of construction and found my way into sales, finance, led me to real estate lending, and kind of did that from 2004 or 5 all the way through the market collapse of 2008. Kind of wiped the slate clean as a bunch of people did in 2008 and started over buying distressed real estate. Through that process, we ended up buying hundreds of homes. I had a real estate partner. We represented investors, and we bought properties for ourselves and those investors. And the kind of natural progression of that was folding construction into the real estate company that we had. So the construction came in 2015. And then by the time 2017, 2018 came along, I just didn't care for real estate in the way that we converted from investing into a retail model, and retail real estate just wasn't for me, but the construction company was growing. So I ended up breaking away and really focusing on just construction only. We ended up in remodel because I think that's where most people start, right? Mm-hmm. If you have a bunch of money, you can build a custom spec home, and then hopefully someone will see that, and then you can build another and another and another. If you don't have a bunch of money, then you start with remodels and you take whatever you can get. And that's kind of where we started. And we had a lot of people asking us for remodel work just based off of the sheer number of homes that we flipped. So we refined that process, got better and better at that. And then, candidly, I looked at the number of amazing custom home builders in the Valley, and I just didn't feel like I wanted to sit at the same table and compete with them. I didn't feel we could at the time. So we continued to focus on remodels and got bigger and bigger projects. And then we decided through that process to focus on that. And then we got really good at that. It's a very different process. And so we've committed to just renovation additions of luxury estates and the equivalent of that in the commercial TI space. That's the very short story.
It sounds like you're not competing with those builders. You've actually partnered with them at this point.
Yeah, there's a number of custom builders that will send us the renovation work that they can't or don't want to do. They trust us with their clients or those referrals, and we do the projects for them. And then we'll send those clients back to them if they're servicing them through their concierge program or something like that.
Yeah. That's great.
What a great, like, well-rounded story and experience that, all those things that you went through to be able to give that experience back to your clients, like even the hundreds of houses that you remodeled and like were selling, and like just that experience alone. So when you are working with clients, you can help them guide on what works and what doesn't work and your experiences with all those projects.
It's definitely helpful, especially within some of the real estate agents and brokers that we work with. We understand what the broker wants, what the broker's looking for, speaking agent,
Right.
if you will.
Right.
Um,
It's so important.
we're there to kind of support and add value versus detract from a deal or have a deal canceled, right? And so we can talk about those value add things, the things that have an ROI that makes sense if the customer's concerned about that. So it's really being a great support partner for real estate brokers, interior designers, architects, et cetera.
Can you walk us through that process with commercial versus residential and kind of how they're different and how they're alike?
Yeah. Commercial's much faster.
Yeah.
First of all, there's a lot less emotion attached to most commercial projects. Commercial projects for us are somebody's business. And so time is money. They want it to be nice. They want it to be beautiful. But they're not living there. It's not their sacred space. They're usually inviting the public in. And so we're really focusing more on how do we make it beautiful, but also turn it around quick. Our commercial work is almost exclusively referral from clients that we did a residential project for that want a little bit of flavor or reflection of their home or personal taste in their offices. So it's usually very custom for the commercial side. And again, it's only tenant improvement, which is, commercial for renovation.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah. I mean, what you're doing really keeps you on like the cutting edge of like what clients are wanting, like what's out there. Curious, like what are you remodeling? What are you taking out and what are you putting in? What are some of the trends?
Anything Tuscan or Santa Barbara is
Going.
just being eliminated
Yeah.
as fast and as far as we can go. Transitional modern all the way to modern or even contemporary is what people want. Although there's a fair amount of they want some artistic flair. There's some curves that they want. We used to be removing arches like crazy. And so now there's keeping a little bit of that. The square box, just plain white and gray that's been so popular for years is quickly going away as well. And so now it's a little bit of meshing or mingling some traditional looks and some richer feel with a more modern approach. So.
What about like materials? Like I'm noticing a lot of plaster coming back. Like what are you seeing for materials?
Plaster, and then if we need to value engineer, we can move over to Roman clay, which honestly, if it's done right, you would never know that's not plaster.
It does look very similar.
Yeah, and it's a fraction of the price. So plaster's coming back in, and then other materials on the modern side of it, we're doing a lot of backlit stones, mixing them with glass and metal. A lot of unique artistic pieces that are being installed in home. So there might be one or two areas where clients are really focusing and really putting a lot of investment in because they want that particular piece or place of the house to pop.
Yeah. What about anything with like floor plans? Is there anything that's standing out as far as opening walls up or closing them down or?
So, what's interesting is most of the stuff that we remodel is early 90s to early 2010s. And so a lot of those tend to be open. They're just brown and ugly. We might be combining some spaces or opening a little bit, but a lot of that product that's the 1940s to 1970s ranch style, low ceiling home, a lot of that's been bought up and been knocked down and rebuilt. And so we're dealing with mostly bigger homes that have a huge head start. And so there's no need to knock them down. They just need to be reimagined and re-engineered. Open spaces are still a thing. We're not compartmentalizing in any way, shape, or form. Nobody wants that. But they're still defining the spaces with either ceiling treatments, artwork, furniture.
That makes a lot of sense. We have seen a little bit of movement back towards like wanting offices instead of that being part of the open space. But that's really been the only thing that we've seen that has kind of moved back into a more intimate space.
Correct. And a lot of those homes usually have a dedicated place already, or we might take a bedroom if there's enough bedrooms and create an office. And those, more often than not, are pretty heavy and pretty moody. We're seeing a lot of that. Dark walls, heavy woodwork, even though it's painted, things like that. Very masculine offices is a lot of what's coming through right now.
Interesting. What is the craziest project you've ever tackled?
Ever tackled? We have an amazing closet project we're working on now in a North Scottsdale neighborhood that is wildly complicated and wildly expensive. And we're definitely looking forward. It's been well over a year in the making. It's in frame stage now, but we're altering about a third of an 11,000 square foot home to pull it off.
Okay.
And this closet is for a really special client. And she's super excited about it, and we're super excited about it. And I can't, unfortunately give tons of details about it, but it is a massive undertaking, elevator and a bunch of other really custom, unique stuff. So
I'm excited.
It's a lot of fun.
That does sound fun. I figure you do a lot of fun. You see a lot of fun spaces, people wanting to, add. Well, we're seeing a lot of wellness centers and things like that, people adding to their homes.
Yes, we do that regularly. So red light therapy, cold plunge, sauna, all of that. In fact, we've even done a couple of men's clinics or just wellness clinics in general in Scottsdale for businesses.
Yeah.
Curious, do you bring in an architect for these bigger projects, or?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, we get to work with a lot of amazing architectural partners in town. And then when they're not something that needs to be fully reimagined, that would warrant one of the bigger firms, and that's really what they're focused on anyways, we do have that available in-house as well. But we kind of reserve that more for an addition or something a little bit more subdued as far as what's needed. If it's a plan set for a permit, just calling out the basics, or if it's like an ADU, a guest house, we can easily draw that and put that together. But if you have a 7 or 10 or 12,000 square foot house and you're changing everything, we're leaning into well-known architectural partners in the Valley.
That's great. All right. Do you mind sharing some of your projects with us, just so our listeners can see? And keep in mind, a lot of our audience is just listening, so try and describe whatever we're about to look at.
Sure. So this first one is it's a project we did in Arcadia. It had been, I think, originally built in the 50s, had multiple renovations done, a few additions done, and then we got a hold of it and ripped the back patio off, framed up a new one that was significantly taller, and gave them a proper covered patio, and then gutted the inside, reconfigured it, really went to the nines on this project. So it's just south of Camelback, right in the heart of Arcadia. Beautiful property. Kitchen's one of my favorite things that we did in this entire house.
Let's do that kitchen. Oh, wow.
The interior design team did a wonderful job on this. This one ended up being picked up by Phoenix Home and Garden in September of 23, I believe. 23 or 24.
Who did those interiors?
Interior design on that was Reagan Ford. She's amazing.
Yeah. It's beautiful. About how long would a project like this take?
So this house was just under 7,000 square feet. And even with some of the challenges we ran into, this was a full exterior, full interior with addition, hardscape, softscape, the works. And it was right around 12 months, and this was dead center in the heat of COVID. So supply chain logistics were a thing.
12 months at Phoenix permit? Did you say it's Arcadia?
Yeah, this is Arcadia. It was a Phoenix permit. From obtaining the permit of the day we started. It was a 12-month project, yeah. And this had, again, supply chain logistics challenges right in the heat of COVID. And then in addition to this, the original kitchen ceiling was almost 2 feet lower. It was framed down, and we knew it was framed down. We did our inspection holes and said, yep, we're going to grab that 18 to 24 inches. Well, once we ripped the drywall down, what we found out is that entire ceiling was about to collapse. So
Oh my God.
in prior years, someone had done some work and had very shoddily put it back together. And so that width of that kitchen is about 16 feet wide. The center joists in the center of that kitchen were 2.5 inches sagged all the way across. So it was structurally unsound. So we ended up ripping that out, completely exposing it to blue sky, and then reframing it taller to grab that 11.5, 12 foot. So even with that unforeseen, having to do those extra plans, extra engineering, and COVID, it was still about a 12-month project.
Yeah, but just the added value of raising those ceilings too. I know that
Oh, yeah. It ended up, that was one of the sticking points for the client, that they loved the design, but everybody had wished we could do a taller ceiling. And, comes at a bit of a price, but that worked out to where we didn't have a choice. And the net product, because of that, is just something else.
It'll be a lot easier to resell too if they ever had to.
Yes. I think they're keeping that one for the long haul, but it's an amazing property. And I would imagine they'll have multiple offers and people tripping over themselves if they decide.
Yeah. 12 months is really a great time frame for a project that large too.
Yes. Our average project, if we're pulling apart, 5,000 to 8,000 square feet and it's full interior gut reconfiguration, windows, doors, the works. I mean, we're running less than 12 months, 9 to 10 months, 9 to 10 months. Yeah. We plan methodically. Everything's picked up front. That we're working hard with the interior design teams to make sure all the selections are there, all their design is there, anything that their vision is fully detailed. Same with the architects. We want everything done so that way when we start, we can just sprint.
It's great. Do you have a few more projects too? Was it Pinnacle Peak you had one?
Yeah, and one in DC Ranch.
DC Ranch.
One in Pinnacle Peak. Yep, this one's in DC Ranch. Another great set of clients. This was second home for them. They're headquartered out of Colorado. They had owned this home for a while. It was relatively dated when we started. We started with the office first and just gave it a quick facelift. And then really they have unobstructed views of the McDowell Mountains. And you couldn't see that from the inside of the house. And so we ripped off half of the back patio, raised it about 4 feet. And in this photo, for example, for anybody that can see, the entertainment wall was where all those windows and doors were. That was all drywall. You couldn't even see out of that. So all those mountains in the background, you couldn't see. And so we ripped all of that out, elevated the patio by, I think it was 3 or 4 feet actually, reframed it, put it back together, and then put in these huge panelized doors and windows. And so now from the kitchen, you can still see the mountain ranges. And then the fireplace is kind of a one-off. That was their piece of art, or their piece de resistance, if you will. All we got was a hand sketch and an idea of what they wanted, and from the design team, and they asked us to figure out how to build it.
Was that like lighting in between the fireplace?
Yeah, that's all cold rolled steel. That's formed in sections, and then inlaid LED lighting into each section on top of solid slab.
That's really pretty.
Fireplace. Yeah, that was a challenge and a half.
It is. It's amazing that anyone would ever have blocked that view.
Yeah, that was from the original build on the house, and it was just a massive missed opportunity. And all the credit goes initially to the client for this, because the client said, "We've got this view. We entertain. It's, an atrocity that we can't see it from
we want to
the
see it
house."
from inside.
And so we spent about 6 months talking about it back and forth and how we would put it together. And it just turned out dynamite. They did sell this house recently, did really, really well on it.
Yeah. I bet. All right. And the next project we have, this is Pinnacle Peak.
Yep. This was a lot of fun for us. This home was extraordinarily compartmentalized. This whole space that you're seeing now was 3 or 4 different rooms, all structural walls. This is one of the only projects we've ever done where the homeowner did all the interior design. Now, he's an architect, and he's fantastic, has an eye, knew exactly what he wanted. And so it wasn't just a typical homeowner picking a bunch of materials. He did a great job supporting us and allowing us to execute his vision. But he changed the layout to this. This one had structural steel that was brought in, a lot of heavy structural reconfiguration work, because it is actually 2-story above sections of the home. They have a wonderful media room upstairs with some amazing views. And so we had to keep the integrity of the house in order to pull that off. But he created this island, and then that hood is something that is almost floating off the ceiling. It's got a base that's considerably more narrow than the top of that. And that was something that we actually couldn't find any vendor that was willing to pull that off, between the framers, between the cabinet companies, etc. And so we ended up building that ourselves. We have a couple of really talented carpenters on staff. And that was one of those things that was just so unique that didn't exactly fit any one trade, that we ended up building that ourselves.
Yeah, this one is a lot more modern than the other properties.
Yes, this one is extremely modern. Has some very unique finishes to it.
It's
even the furniture placement, the furniture layout. So the stairwell was there, except for this whole foyer was about 3 feet lower. So you'd walk and step down, and then you would step up to the space you're standing in now from the photo. And so we actually raised the entire foundation as part of this project, and then cut the stairwell down and then put it back in place. A little bit of a challenge to do that.
Also good for resale, though.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody wants the
Not to keep
single
bringing that up,
unified,
but-
main floor.
Yeah.
Custom built front door. He designed it, drew it. We worked with a vendor to have it custom made.
So what I'm hearing is if somebody has a vision, you will work with them to get it done.
Yeah, for sure. That's our favorite thing. It's anything that, especially in the reno space, you usually have something where you're confined to a space or something that just can't be done. We really try to push those boundaries, try to push that envelope. And, you're dealing with something that is existing, that might be old, and then doing new and making it look like it was always that way or intended to be that way. So if it's a really big challenge and a really difficult build, that's the kind of stuff we're interested in. We're not a kitchen and bath company. That's not what we do.
Yeah.
People usually come to us because they want some form of art. That's what our team excels at, is estate level homes and doing really unique builds.
And you're typically doing whole house remodels.
No.
Or just
We do a lot of
closets.
whole house remodels.
closets.
Yeah. We do a lot of whole house remodels. But we'll do projects all the way down to maybe $250,000 or so, which oftentimes is a ring.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If the house is big enough. So it just really comes down to, where's the house located? What's the client looking for? Is it something that we feel like we'd be a good fit for, that we can execute and do a good job on?
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be the whole house. We're doing a lot of guest homes, ADUs, just separate from the main house at all, that we're not even touching the main house at all.
Well, thanks for sharing these projects with us.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, we like to end with a little rapid fire. So
Okay.
you ready?
Yes.
Couple easy questions. What is your favorite type of music?
Metal.
Yeah.
I saw some Metallica on
Yeah.
your Instagram.
Yeah. Our family is a big Metallica fan. We've been to a number of concerts.
I love it. If you could remodel any building or space that you've ever been to, what would it be?
That I've ever been to.
Is there anywhere that you've walked in and you're like, God, somebody needs to come in?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of them. For me, it's more like, what is a meaningful historical piece of art that doesn't necessarily need to be remodeled, but so for example, if I could be part of the team that works on Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water in Pennsylvania on the restoration, just
Hey,
done.
it's a never-ending restoration.
Yeah.
So
It's the best piece of architecture I've ever been to personally and laid eyes on. There is a project that we didn't get in the Biltmore area that was it was owned and built by the Rockefeller family, and we were optimistic that one was going to come together. But it was such a beautiful home the way it was, and the vision for transforming it was equally as amazing. Little disappointed we didn't get that one, but the client didn't end up buying the house. So, and then as far as ugly stuff, I mean, all of it. We want to do all of it. There's so much of it. Yeah. Arizona, I feel like Arizona lacked a lot of really amazing vision, and a lot of homes just got thrown up. And so there's an opportunity to really take luxury and elevate it to that ultra luxury market and make, what is a head start with the structures, just something beautiful.
Yeah.
Great response. Yeah. Are you early bird or night owl?
Early bird, 4 a.m.
Yeah, you have to be, right? In Arizona, in the builder.
Yeah. What is your favorite or least favorite style of architecture to remodel?
The columns have to be the hard columns everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest to remodel are some of the 1940s Adobe. And really, a lot of times you end up knocking them down. Unless you want to stay true to the Adobe, just because it's so brittle, you're very limited at what you can do. The stuff I definitely like remodeling the most is anything Tuscan or Santa Barbara, and that's just brown from top to bottom. I can't even deal with brown.
So brown is your least favorite color?
Yeah, brown is my least favorite color.
Okay, what is your tip for homeowners looking to remodel their home?
It's all in the planning. 90% or better of the success or failure of a project is in the planning. And I know it's tedious and I know it's time consuming, but it's all in the planning when it comes to remodel. Methodically thinking through everything that needs to happen, thinking about the ripple effect. If I touch this, what happens with that? Really, that's everything, right? And so finding a team that can walk you through that pre-construction is the single most important part of it. Almost anybody can do the build with a good set of plans. Even though there's a little chaos that comes in every build on the remodel side, it's all in the planning. Focus there, start there. Don't be surprised if you spend the same amount of time in planning and pre-construction as you do the actual build.
Interesting.
And having someone like you that knows the domino effect.
Yeah.
That's great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We are going to link all of your contact information in our show notes, but if you wouldn't mind telling our listeners where they could find you.
Yeah. Instagram is at McCully Construction. And then our website is www.mccullyconstruction.com.
All right, guys, look them up. And that's it for today's episode of Modern Home Mastermind. If you've enjoyed the show, please subscribe, like, and rate.
Thanks to our guest for sharing his insights with us and to you for learning about everything modern with us.
And if you're ready to take the next step in your real estate journey, please reach out to us at beSpoke Real Estate. And until next time, keep living, loving everything modern.